Welcome back, everybody. We are on day 4 officially. Technically, we just started day 5, so we're officially 24 hours behind, but I'm not tripping because we are entering my favorite section of the Bible. We are reading Job through Isaiah. So that's Job, Psalms, Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, Song of Songs, Isaiah. Literally my favorite books in the Bible, all in one section. It's on a green day. We got our green, you know what I'm saying? We got our green, you know what I'm saying? So we are doing just fine. So yeah, we're gonna be beginning with Job. We're gonna be working through Isaiah, and then we have more readings after that. It's gonna be great. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and get started. I won't be reading too many comments. That's okay, because we do have a lot of stuff to get through. But just know that I'm in great spirits. I got a lot of rest last night. Literally, I couldn't be better right now. So continue to send your support. I will say that the financial need hasn't been technically met yet for this week, so please be working on that to make sure that we have enough to just take care of all the things that we have going on here. But with that, we're going to go ahead and we're going to continue on our little journey, all right? So it says, oh, let me start my clock. The goal time for Job is 2 hours and 5 minutes. Let's begin. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you so much for this great day. I feel good. I feel great. But please give me the energy to keep feeling like that throughout the day. We have to make up time in order to meet these goals. You know the goal of my heart, and I hope that it's pleasing to you up in the heavens. I hope that this reading is something that glorifies you, something that makes you just celebrate, something that makes the angels smile. We are in my favorite section of the Bible. So allow me to just keep going. Please continue to strengthen my voice and strengthen my hands and strengthen my mind and conviction so that way I can press forward and not give up before the job is done. I pray that we continue to move powerfully throughout this. I pray that everyone that you want to be impacted by this finds this video, whether it be people that I already know or people that have yet to find me. Whoever it is, bring them here, God. Allow this to be something that re-strengthens the faith of the church and allow those who see it to just be encouraged, to be inspired, to feel just that energy of when they first came to the church, or even plant a seed of what it would be like to be in the church and to be fired up, God. I lay all this in your hands for your glory. You are my God, the only God, the God who brought me out of so many crazy times in my life, and I continue to praise you and give you just credit for the amazing things you've done. You were great then, and you are still amazing now, beyond understanding and reason. I just thank you for all the great things you've done in my life. Truly, God, thank you. Thank you for your son, Jesus, who came to this earth and did the amazing things he did so that I could have this relationship that I have with you, that I can have the understanding of how to love you the way that I do, so that I can have the spirit in my body, so that I can have peace with you, God, so that we can have a loving relationship that's not always just complete fear or the dangerous things that I've done in my life. I thank you for your grace and your hand on me and for just forgiving me of the stupid things I've done. Continue to bless my family. Continue to bless those around me. I give you all of this in your name, God. And I said, amen. Let's begin. In the land of Uz, there was a man whose name was Job. This man was blameless and upright. He feared God and shunned evil. He had 7 sons, 3 daughters, and owned 7,000 sheep, 3,000 camels, 500 yoke of oxen, 500 donkeys, and a large number of servants. He was the greatest man among all the people of the East. His sons used to take turns holding feasts in their homes, and they would invite their 3 sisters to eat and drink with them. Amazing. When a period of feasting had run its course, Job would send and have them purified. Early in the morning, he would sacrifice burnt offering for each of them, thinking, perhaps my children have sinned and cursed God in their hearts. This was Job's regular custom. One day the angels came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan also came with them. The Lord said to Satan, where have you come from? Satan answered to the Lord, from roaming through the earth and going back and forth in it. The Lord said to Satan, have you considered my servant Job? There is no one on earth like him. He is blameless and upright, a man who fears God and shuns evil. Does Job fear God for nothing? Satan replied. Have you not put a hedge around him and his household and everything he has? You have blessed the work of his hands so that his flocks and herds are spread throughout the land. But stretch out your hand and strike everything he has, and he will surely curse you to your face. The Lord said, very well, but everything he has is in your hand, but on the man himself do not lay a finger. Then Satan went out to the presence from the presence of the Lord. One day Job's sons and daughters were feasting and drinking wine with the oldest brother's house. A messenger came to Job and said, the oxen were plowing and donkeys were grazing nearby, and the Sabians attacked and carried them off. They put the servants to the sword, and I am the only one who has escaped to tell you. Sheesh. While he was speaking, another messenger came and said, the fire of God fell from the sky and burned up the sheep and the servants, and I'm the only one who has escaped to tell you. And while he was still speaking, another messenger came and said, the Chaldeans formed 3 raiding parties and swept down your camels and carried them off. They put your servants to the sword, and I'm the only one who escaped to tell you. And while he was still speaking, yet another messenger came and said, your sons and daughters were feasting and drinking wine at the oldest brother's house, when suddenly a mighty wind swept in from the desert and struck the 4 corners of the house. It collapsed on them, and they are dead, and I am the only one who escaped to tell you. After this, Job got up and tore his robe, shaved his head. He fell to the ground and worshipped. Naked I came from my mother's room, and naked I will depart. The Lord gave, and the Lord has taken away. May the name of the Lord be praised forever. In all this, Job did not sin by charging God with wrongdoing. On another day, the angel came and presented himself before the Lord, and Satan also come to present himself before him. And the Lord said to Satan, where have you come from? Satan answered, from roaming the earth, going back and forth in it. Then the Lord said to Satan, have you considered my servant Job? There is no one on earth like him. He is blameless and upright, a man who fears God and shuns evil. He maintains his integrity, and though you incite me against him to ruin him without any reason, skin for skin, Satan replied, a man will give all he has for his own life. But stretch out your hand and strike his flesh and bones, and he will surely curse you to your face. The Lord said to Satan, very well. Then he is in your hands, but you must spare his life. So Satan went out to the presence of the Lord and afflicted Job with painful sores from the soles of his feet to the top of his head. Then Job took a piece of broken pottery and scraped himself with it as he sat among the ashes. His wife said to him, are you holding on to your integrity? Curse God and die. He replied, you are talking like a foolish woman. Shall we accept good from God and not trouble? In all this, Job did not sin in what he said. When Job, his friends Eliphaz, the Timnite, Bildad, the Shuhite, and Zophar, the Nahamite, heard all of the troubles that had come upon him, they set out from their home and met together in agreement to go and sympathize with him and comfort him. When they saw him from a distance, they could hardly recognize him. They began to weep out loud. They tore their robes and sprinkled dust on their heads. They sat on the ground with him for 7 days and 7 nights. No one said a word to him because of how great he was suffering. After this, Job opened his mouth and cursed the day of his birth. He said, may the day of my birth perish, and the night it was said, a boy is born. That day may it turn to darkness, and may God above not care about it. May no light shine upon it. May darkness and deep shadow claim it once more. May a cloud settle over it. May blackness overwhelm its light. That night may a thick darkness seize it. May it not be included among the days of the year, nor be entered in any of the months. May that night be barren. May no shout of joy be heard of it. May those who curse days curse that day. Those who are ready to rouse the Leviathan, may its morning stars become dark, and may it wait for daylight in vain, and not see the first rays of dawn. For it did not shut the doors of the womb on me to hide trouble from my eyes. Why did I not perish at birth and die as I came from the womb? Why were there knees to receive me and breasts that I might be nursed? For now I would be lying down in peace. I would be asleep and at rest with kings and counselors of the earth who built themselves palaces, now laying in ruins, with rulers who had gold, who filled their houses with silver. Or why was it I not hidden in in the ground like a stillborn child, like an infant who never saw the light of day. There, the wickedness ceased the from turmoil, and they were weary at rest. Captives also enjoy their ease. They no longer hear the slave driver shout. And the small and the great are there, and the slave is free from his master. Why is the light given to those in nursery, and the life to the bitter of soul? To those who long for death that does not come, who search for it more than hidden treasures, who feel the gladness of it. Who are filled with gladness and rejoice when they reach the grave. Why is living life given to man whose way is hidden, whom God has hedged in? For sighing comes to me instead of food. My groans pour out like water. What I feared has come upon me, what I dreaded has happened to me, and I have no peace and no quietness. Then Eliphaz the Temanite replied, if someone ventures a word with you, will you be impatient? But who can keep from speaking? Think how you have instructed many and how you have strengthened people's hands. Your words have supported those who have stumbled. You have strengthened faltering knees. But now trouble comes upon you, and you are discouraged. It strikes you, and you are dismayed. Should not your piety should not your piety be your confidence and your blameless way, your hope? Consider now who is being innocent has ever perished. Where were the upright ever destroyed? As I observed, those who plow evil and those who sow trouble reap it. At the breath of God they are destroyed, and at the blast of his anger they perish. The lions may roar and growl, yet the teeth of great lions are broken, and the lion perishes for lack of prey, and the cubs of the lioness are scattered. A word was secretly brought to me, my ears caught whisper of it amid the disquieting streams of the night. When deep sleep falls on men, fear and trembling seized me and made my bones shake. A spirit glided past my face, and the hair on my body stood on end. I stopped, but I could not tell what it was. A form stood before my eyes, and I heard a harsh voice. Can a mortal be more righteous than God? Can a man be more pure than his maker? If God has no trust in his servants, if he charges his angels with error, how much more those who live in the houses of clay, whose foundations are in dust, who are crushed more readily than the moth? Between dawn and dusk they are broken into pieces. Unnoticed they perish forever. Are not the cords of their tent pulled up, so that they die without wisdom? Call if you will, but who will answer you? To which of the Holy One will you turn? Resentment kills a fool, and envy slays the simple. I myself have seen a fool taken root, but suddenly his house was cursed, his children are far from safety, crushed in the court without a defender. The hungry consume his harvest, taking in it from among the thorns, and the thirsty pant after his wealth. For hardship does not spring from the soil, nor does trouble sprout from the ground. Yet man is born to trouble, as surely as sparks fly upward. But if it were I would appeal to God. I would lay my curse before him. He would perform wonders that cannot be fathomed, miracles that cannot be counted. He bestows rain on the earth. He sends water on the countryside and the lowly. He sets high, and those who mourn are lifted to safety. He thwarts the plans of the crafty so that their hands achieve no success. He catches the wise in their craftiness, and the schemes of the wily are swept away. Darkness comes upon them in the daytime, and noon they grope as in the night. He saves the needy for the sword in their mouth. He saves them from the clutches of the powerful, so that the poor have no hope. So that the poor have hope, and injustice shuts his mouth. Blessed is the man whom God corrects. So do not despise the discipline of the Almighty, for he wounds, but he also binds up. He injures, but he also his hands heal. From 6 calamities he will rescue you. In 7 no harm will befall you. In famine he will ransom you from death. In battle from the stroke of the sword you will be protected from the lash of the tongue, and need not fear when destruction comes. You will laugh at destruction and famine and need not fear the beasts of the earth. You will have a covenant with the stones of the field, and the wild animals will be at peace with you. You will know your tent is secure. You will take stock of your property and find nothing missing, and you will know that your children will be many, and your descendants will be like grass on the earth, and you will come to the grave full of vigor, like sheaves gathered in season. We have examined this, and it is true. So hear it and apply it to yourself. If only my anguish be weighed and my misery be placed on the scales, it would surely outweigh the sand of the seas. No wonder my words have been impietous. The arrows of the Almighty are on me. My spirit drinks in their poison. God's arrows are marshaled against me. Does wild donkey brave when grass? Does wild donkey brave when it has grass, or ox bellow when it has fodder? It is tasteless food, even without salt, even eaten without salt, or is there flavor in the white of an egg? If I refuse to touch it, such food will make me ill. Oh, that I might have my request, that God would grant what I hope for, that God would be willing to crush me, to let loose his hand and cut me off, that I would still have this consolation, my joy in unrelenting pain, that I had not denied the words of the Holy One. What strength do I have that I should still hope? What prospects that I should be patient? Do I have the strength of stone? Is my flesh bronze? Do I have any power to help myself? Now that success has been driven from me. A despairing man should have the devotion of his friend, even though he forsakes the fear of the Almighty. But my brothers are undependable as intermittent streams, as the streams that overflow, what darkened the thawing ice and swollen the melting snow, but that ceased to flow in the dry season, and in the heat when heat vanished from their channels. Caravans turn aside from their routes. They go up into the wasteland of Paris. The caravans of Timna look for water, and the traveling merchant of Sheba looks in hope. They are distressed that because they had been confident, they arrived there only to be disappointed. Now, you too have proved to be of no help. You see something dreadful and are afraid. Have I ever said, give something on my behalf? Pay a ransom for me from your wealth. Deliver me from the hand of my enemy. Ransom me from the clutches of ruthless. Teach me, and I will be quiet. Show me where I have been wrong. Show me where I have been wrong. How painful are honest words. But what do your arguments prove? Do you mean to correct what I say and treat the words of a despairing man as wind? You would even cast lots for the fatherless and barter away your friend. But now be so kind as to look at me. Would I lie to your face? Relent and do not be unjust. Reconsider, for my integrity is at stake. Is there any wickedness on my lips? Can your mouth not discern malice? Does not man have hard service on earth? Are not his days like those of a hired man, like a slave longing for the evening shadows, or a hired man waiting eagerly for his wages? So I have been allotted months of fertility, and nights of misery have been assigned to me when I lie down and think. How long before I get up? The night drags on, and I toss till dawn. My body is coughed with worms and scabs. My skin is broken and festering. My days are swifter than a weaver's shuttle, and they come to an end without a hope. Remember, O God, that life is but a breath. My eyes will never see happiness again. The eye that now sees me will see me no longer. You will look for me, but I will be no more. As cloud vanishes and is gone, so he who goes down to the grave does not return. He will never come to his house again. His place will know no more, will know him no more. Therefore, I will not keep silent. I will speak out in the anguish of my spirit. I will complain in the bitterness of my soul. I am the sea or the monster of the deep, that you put me under guard. When I think my bed will comfort me and my couch will ease my complaint, even then you frighten me with dreams and terrify me with visions, so that I prefer strangling and death rather than this body of mine. I despise my life. I would not live forever. that I prefer strangling and death rather than this body of mine or despise my life. I would not live forever. Let me alone. My days have no meaning. What is man that you make so much of him, that you give him so much attention, that you examine him every morning and test him every moment? Will you never look away from me or let me alone even for an instant? If I have sinned, what have I done to you? O watcher men, why have you made me your target? Have I become a burden to you? Why do you not pardon my offenses or forgive my sins? For I will soon lie down in the dust. You will search for me, but I will be no more. Then Bildad the Shuhite replied, How long will you say such thing? Your words are blustering wind. Does God pervert justice? Does the Almighty pervert what is right? When your children sinned against him, he gave them over to the penalty of their sin. But if you will look to God and plead with the Almighty, if you are pure and upright, even now he will rise himself on your behalf and restore to you your rightful place. Your beginnings will seem humble, so prosperous will be your future. Ask the former generation, find out what their fathers learned, for we were born only yesterday and know nothing. And our days on earth are but a shadow. Will they not instruct you and tell you? Will they not bring forth words from their understanding? Can pride grow tall where there is no marsh? Can reeds thrive without water? While still growing and uncut, they wither more quickly than grass. Such is the destiny of all who forget God. So perishes the hope of the godless. What he trusts in is fragile. What he relies on is a spider's web. He leans on his web, but it gives way. He clings for it, but it does not hold. He is like a well-watered plant in sunshine, spreading its shoots over the garden. It entwines its roots around a pile of rocks and looks for a place among the stones. But when it is torn from its spot, the place disowns it and says, I never saw you. Surely its life withers away from the soil of other plants. Surely God does not reject a blameless man or strengthen the hands of evildoers. He will yet fill your mouth with laughter. He will yet fill your mouth with laughter. He will yet fill your mouth with laughter, and your lips will shout for joy. Your enemies will be clothed in shame, and the tents of the wicked will be no more. Then Job replied, Indeed, I know this is true. But how can a mortal be more righteous before God? Though one wished to dispute with him, he could not answer him one time out of 1,000. His wisdom is profound, his power is vast. Who has resisted him and come out unscathed? He moves mountains without their knowing it, or overturns them in his anger. He shakes the earth from its place and makes pillars tremble. He speaks to the sun, and it does not shine. He seals off the light of the stars, and alone stretches out the heavens and treads the warped waves of the sea. He is the maker of bread and Orion and the Pleiades and the constellations of the south. He performs wonders that cannot be fathomed, miracles that cannot be counted. When he passes me, I cannot see him. When he goes by, I cannot perceive him. If he snatches away, who can stop him? Who can say to him, What are you doing? God does not restrain his anger. Even the cohorts of Rahab cowered at his feet. How then can I dispute with him? How can I find words to argue with him? Though I were innocent, I could not answer him. If I could only plead with my judge of mercy, even I summoned him, and he responded. I do not believe he would give me a hearing. He would crush me with a storm and multiply my wounds for no reason. He would not let me regain my breath. He would overwhelm me with my misery. If it is a matter of strength, he is mighty. If it is a matter of justice, who will summon him? If I were innocent, my mouth would condemn me. If I were blameless, it would pronounce me guilty. Although I am blameless and I have no concern for myself, I despise my own life. It is all the same. That is why I say he destroys both the blameless and the wicked. When a scourge brings sudden death, he mocks the despair of the innocent. When the land falls into the hands of the wicked, he blindfolds its judges. If it is not he, then who is it? My days are swifter than a runner. They fly away without the glimpse of joy. They skim past like the boats of papyrus, like eagles swooping down on their prey. If I say I will forget my complaint, I will change my expression and smile, I still dread all my sufferings. Since I'm already found guilty, why should I struggle in vain? Even if I wash myself with soap and my hands with the washing soda, and you would plunge me into a slime pit, so that even my clothes would detest me. He is not a man like me that I might answer to him, that I might answer him, that we might confront each other in court. If only there were someone to arbitrate between us, to lay his hands upon both of us, someone to remove God's rod from me, so that his terror would not frighten me no more, then I would speak up without fear of him. But as it is now, as it now stands with me, I cannot. I loathe my very life. Therefore, I give free rein up to my complaint and speak out of the bitterness of my soul. I will say to God, do not condemn me, but tell me what charges you have against me. Does it please you to oppress me, to spurn the work of my hands, while you smile at the schemes of the wicked? Do you have eyes of flesh? Do you see as a mortal sees? Are your days like those of a mortal, and your years like those of a man, that you must search out my faults and probe after my sin, that you know that I am not guilty, and that no one can rescue me from your hand? Your hand shaped me and made me. Will you now turn and destroy me? Remember that you molded me like clay. While you now turn me to will you now turn me to dust again? Did you not pour out me like milk and curdle me like cheese? Clothe me with skin and flesh and knit together the bones and sinews. You gave me life and showed me kindness, and in your providence watched over my spirit. But this is what you have concealed in your heart, and I know that this was in your mind. If I have sinned, you would be watching and would not let my offense go unpunished. If I am guilty, woe to me. Even if I am innocent, I cannot lift my hand, for I am full of shame and drowned in my affliction. If I hold my head high, you stalk me like a lion, and again display your awesome power against me. You bring me witnesses against me. You increase your anger towards me. Your forces have come against me wave upon wave. Why then did you bring me out of the womb? I wish I had died before any eye saw me. If only I had never come into being, or had carried straight from the womb to the grave. Are not my few days almost over? Turn away from me, so that I can have a moment's joy before I go to a place of no return, to the land of gloom and deep shadow, to the land of the deepest night, to the deep shadow of disorder, where even light is like darkness. Then Zophar the Nahamite replied, Are all these words to go unanswered? Is this talker to be vindicated? Will your idle talk reduce men to silence? Will no one rebuke you when you mock? You say to God, my beliefs are flawless and I'm pure in your sight. Oh, how I wish that God would speak, and then he would open his lips against you and disclose to you the secrets of wisdom. For true wisdom has two sides. Know this: God has even forgotten some of your sin. Can you fathom the mysteries of God? Can you probe the limits of the Almighty? They are higher than the heavens. What can you do? They are deeper than the depths of the grave. What can you know? Their measure is longer than the earth and wilder than sea. If he comes along and confines you in prison and confines a court, who can oppose him? Surely he recognizes a deceitful man, and when he sees evil, does he not take note? But a witless man can know no more become wise than a wild donkey's colt can be bored a man. Yet, if you are to devote your heart to him and stretch out your hands to him, if you put away the sin that is in your hand and allow no evil to dwell in the tent, then you will lift up your face without shame, and you would stand firm without fear. You would surely forget your trouble, recalling it only as waters on by. Life will be brighter than noonday, and darkness will become like morning. You will be secure because there is no hope. You will look about you and take your rest in safety. You will lie down with no one to make you afraid, and many will court your favor, but the eyes of the wicked will fail, and escape will elude them. Their hope will become a dying gasp. Then Job replied, Doubtless you are the people, and wisdom will die with you. But I have a mind as well as you. I am not inferior to you. Who does not know all these things? I have become a laughingstock to my friends, though I called upon God, and he answered, a mere laughingstock. Though righteous and blameless, men at ease have contempt for misfortune, as the fate of those whose feet are slipping. The tents of the marauders are undisturbed, and those who provoke God are secure, those who carry their God in their hands. But ask the animals, and they will teach you, or the birds of the air, and they will tell you or speak. to the earth, and it will teach you, or let the fish of the sea inform you. Which of all of these does not know that the hand of the Lord has done this? In his hand is the life of every creature and the breath of all mankind. Does not the ear test wood as tongue test words as tongue tests food? Is not the wisdom found among the aged? Does not long life bring understanding? To God belong wisdom and power, and counsel and understanding are his. What he tears down cannot be rebuilt. The man he imprises cannot be released. If he holds back the waters, there is a drought. If he lets loose, they devastate the land. To him belong strength and victory. Both deceive and the deceiver are his. He leads counselors away stripped, and both stripped and makes fools of the judges. He takes off the shackles put on by the kings and ties loincloth around their waist. He leads the priests away stripped and overthrows men long established. He silences the lips of the trusted advisors and takes away the discernment of the elders. He pours contempt on He pours contempt on the nobles and disarms the mighty. He reveals the deep things of darkness and brings deep shadows into the light. He makes the nations great and disperses them. He deprives the leaders of the earth of their reason. He sends them wandering through the trackless waste. They grope in the darkness with no light, and he makes them stagger like drunkards. My eyes have seen all this, my ears have heard and understood it. What you know, I also know. I'm not inferior to you, but I desire to speak with the Almighty to argue my case with God. You, however, smear me with lies. You are worthless physicians, all of you. If only you would be altogether silent. For you that will be wisdom. Hear now my argument. Speak the plea of my lips. Will you speak wickedly on God's behalf? Will you speak deceitfully for him? Will you show him partially? Will you argue the case of God? Would it turn out well for you if he examined you? Could you deceive him as you might deceive men? He would surely rebuke you if you secretly show partiality. Would not his splendor terrify you? Would not the dread of him fall on you? Your maxims are proverbs from ashes, your defense are defenses of clay. Keep silent and let me speak. Then let come to me what may. Why do I put myself in jeopardy and take my life into my hands? Though he may slay me, yet I will hope in him. I will surely defend my ways to his face. Indeed, this will turn out for my deliverance, for no godless man will dare come before him. Listen carefully to my words. Let your ears take in what I say. Now that I prepared my case, I know that I will be vindicated. Can anyone bring charges against me? If so, I will be silent and die. I will only grant me these two things, O God, and then I will not hide from you. Withdraw your hands from me and stop frightening me with your terror. Then summon me, and I will answer. But let me speak, and you reply. How many wrongs or sins have I committed? Show me my offense and my sin. Why do you hide your face from me and consider me your enemy? Will you torment me? Will you torment a windblown leaf? Will you chase away dry chaff? For you write down bitter things against me, and you make me apparent the sins of my youth. You fasten my feet in shackles. You keep close watch on all my paths by putting marks on the soles of my feet. So men waste away like something rotten, like a garment eaten by moth. Man born of woman is a few days and full of trouble. He springs up like a flower and withers away. Like fleeting shadow, he does not endure. Do you fix your eye on such? Do you fix your eye on such a one? Will you bring him before you for judgment? Who can bring what is pure from what is impure? No one. Man's days are determined. You decreed the number of his months, and you have set limits he cannot exceed. So look away from him and let him alone till he has put in his time like a hired man. At least there is hope for a tree. If it is cut down, it will sprout again. Its new shoots will not fail. Its roots may grow old, and the ground and its stump die in the soil. Yet, as the scent of water is like the scent of water, it will bud. Yet, at the scent of water, it will bud and put forth shoots like a plant. But man dies and is laid low. He grieves his last and is no more. A water disappears from the sea, and a riverbed becomes parched and dry. So man lies down and does not rise. Till heavens are no more, men will not awake or be roused from their sleep. If only you would hide me in the grave and conceal me till your anger has passed. If only you would set me a time and then remember me. If a man dies, will he live again? All the days of my heart's service, I will wait For my renewal to come, you will call, and I will answer. I will long for the creature your hands have made. Surely, then you will count my steps. I will not keep track of my sin. My offenses will be sealed up in a bag. You will cover over my sin. But the mountain rose and crumbles, and as a rock is moved from its place, as waters wears away stone, and torrents wash away the soul, so you destroy man's hope. You overpower him once and for all, and he is gone. You change his countenance and send him away. If his sons are honored, he does not know it. If they are brought low, he does not see it. He is brought, he feels the pain of his own body and mourns only for himself. Then Eliphaz the Temanite replied, would a wise man answer the empty noses or fill his belly with hot east glen? Would he argue with useless words, with speeches that have no value? But you even undermine the piety and hinder the devotion to God. Your sin prompts your mouth. You adopt a tongue of the crafty. Your own mouth condemns you, not mine. Your own lips testify against you. Are you the first man ever born? Were you brought forth before the hills? Do you listen in on God's counsel? Do you limit listening to yourself? What do you know that we do not know? What insights do you have that we do not have? The gray haired and the aged are on our side, men even older than your father. Are God's consolations not enough for you? Words spoken gently to you. Why has your heart carried you away? And why do your ears flash? Why do your eyes flash? So that you vent your rage against God and pour out such words from your mouth? What is man that he could be pure, or one born of woman that he could be righteous? If God places no trust in his holy ones, if even the heavens are not pure in his eyes, how much less man who is vile and corrupt, who drinks up evil like water? Listen to me, and I will explain it to you. Listen to me, what I have seen, and the wise men have declared, hiding nothing received from their fathers, to whom alone the land was given, with no alien passed among them. All the days the wicked man suffers torment, the ruthless, through all the eyes stored up for him. Terrifying sounds has filled his ears. When all seem well and marauders attack him, he despairs of escaping the darkness. He is marked for the sword. He wanders about food for vultures. He knows the days of darkness is at hand. Distress and anguish fill him in terror. They overwhelm him like a king poised to attack, because he shakes his fist at God and vaunts himself against the Almighty, defiantly charging against him with thick, strong shield. Though his face is covered with fat and his waist bulges with flesh, he will inhabit ruined towns and houses where no one lives, and houses crumble to rubble. He will no longer be rich, and his wealth will not endure, nor his possessions spread over the land. He will not escape the darkness. A flame will wither his shoots, and the breath of God's mouth will carry him away. Let not him deceive himself by trusting what is worthless, for he will get nothing in return. Before his time he will be paid in full, and the branches will not flourish. He will be like a vine stripped of unripe grapes, like the olive blossom shedding its blossoms, like the olive trees shedding its blossoms. For the company of the godless will be barren, and a fire will consume the tents of those who love bribes. Those they conceive trouble and give birth to evil, their wombs fashion deceit. Then Job replied, I have heard many things like these. Miserable comforters are you all. Will your long-winded speeches never end? What ails you that you keep on arguing? I also could speak like you. If you were in my place, I could make fine speeches against you and shake my head at you. But my mouth would encourage you. Comfort from my lips would bring you relief. Yet, if I speak, my pain is not relieved. Yet, if I speak, my pain is not relieved, and if I refrain, it does not go away. Surely, O God, you have worn me out. You devastated my entire household. You have bound me, and it has become a witness. My darkness rises up and testifies against me. God assails me and tears me in his anger, and gnashes his teeth at me. My opponent fastens on me like with his piercing eyes. Men open their mouth to jeer at me. They strike my cheek and scorn and unite together against me. God has turned me over to evil men and has thrown me into the clutches of the wicked as well with me, but he shattered me. He seized me by the neck and crushed me. He has made me his target. His archers surround me without pity. He pierces my kidneys and spills my gall on the ground. Again and again he bursts open me. He rushes at me like a warrior. I have sewed sackcloth over my skin and buried my brow in the dust. My face is red with weeping. My Deep shadows rings my eyes, yet my hands have been free of violence. My prayer is pure. What's up, brother? I'm having a great time. I'm in my favorite place in the Bible. I love you, bro. Thanks for always coming by and supporting. My prayer is pure. On earth, do not cover my blood. May my cry never be laid to rest. Even now, my witness is in heaven. My advocate is on high. My intercessor is my friend. As my eyes pour out tears to God on behalf of men, he pleads with God as man pleads for his friend. Only a few years have passed before I will go on a journey of no return. My spirit is broken. My days are cut short. The grave awaits for me. Surely the mockers surround me. My eyes must dwell on their hostility. Give me, O God, the pledge you demand. Who else will put up security for me? You have closed their minds to understanding. Therefore, you will not let them triumph. If a man denounces his friends for reward, the eyes of his children will fail. God has made me a byword to everyone, a man in whose face people spit. My eyes have grown dim with grief. My whole frame is but a shadow. Upright men are appalled at the innocent, are aroused against the ungodly. Nevertheless, the righteous will hold to their ways, and those who with clean hands will grow stronger. But come on, all of you, try again. I will not find a wise man among you. My days have passed, my plans are shattered, and so the desires of my heart. And so are the desires of my heart. These men turn night into day, the face of darkness, they say light is near. If the only home I hope for is the grave, if I spread out my bed in darkness, if I say to corruption, you are my father, and to the worm, my mother and my sister, where then is my hope? Who can see any hope for me? Will it go down to the gates of death? Will we descend together into dust? Then Bedad the Shuhite replied, when will you end these speeches? Be sensible, and then we can talk. Why are we regarded as cattle and considered stupid in your sight? You who tear yourself to pieces in your anger, is the earth to be abandoned for your sake? Or must the rocks be moved from their place? The lamp of the wicked is snuffed out, the flame of his fire stops burning, the light in his tent becomes dark, the lamp beside him goes out, the vigor in his step is weakened, his own schemes thrown him down, his feet thrust him into a net, and he wanders into its mesh. A trap seizes him by the heel, a snare holds him fast, a noose is hidden for him on the ground, a trap lies in his path, terror startles him on every side, and a dog in every step. Calamity is hungry for him, disaster is ready for him when he falls. It eats away the parts of his skin, death firstborn devours him his limbs, he is torn from the security of his tent and marched off to the king of terrors. Fire resides in his tent, burning sulfur is scattered over his dwelling. His roots dry up below, his branches wither above, and a memory of him perishes the earth. He has no name in the land, he is driven out. He has driven from light into darkness and vanished from the world. He has no offspring or descendants from his people, no survivor where once he lived. Men of the west are appalled in his fate. Men of the east are seized with horror. Surely such is the dwelling of an evil man. Such is the place of one who knows not God. Then Job replied, how long will you torment me and crush me with words? 10 times now you have reproached me. Shamelessly you have attacked me. If it is true I have gone astray, my error remains my concern alone. If indeed you would exalt yourselves above me and use my humiliation against me, then know that God has wronged me and drawn his net around me. Though I cry, I have been wrong, I get no response. Though I call for help, there is no justice. He has blocked my way so I cannot pass. He has shrouded my path in darkness. He has stripped me of my honor and removed the crown from my head. He tears me down on every side till I am gone. He uproots my hope like a tree. His anger burns against me. He counts me among his enemies. His troops advancing forth. They build siege ramps against me, and they encamp around my tent. He has alienated my brothers from me. My acquaintances are completely estranged from me. My kinsmen have gone away. My friends have forgotten me. My guests and my maidservants count me a stranger. They look upon me as an alien. I summon my servant, but he does not answer. Though I beg him with my own mouth, my breath is offensive to my wife. I am loathsome to my own brothers. Even the little boys scorn me. When I appear, they ridicule me. All my intimate friends detest me. Those who I love have turned against me. I am nothing but skin and bones. I have escaped with only the skin of my teeth. Have pity on me, my friends. Have pity, for the hand of God has struck me. Why do you pursue me as God does? Will you never not get enough of my flesh? Oh, that my words were recorded, that they were written on my scroll, that they were inscribed with iron tool on the lead and engraved on the rock forever. I know that my Redeemer lives, and at the end he will stand upon the earth. And after my skin has been destroyed, yet in my flesh I will see God. I myself will see him with my own eyes. I and not another. How my heart yearns within me. If you say, how will we hound him, since the root of the trouble lies in him? You should fear the sword yourselves, for wrath will bring punishment by the sword, and then you will know that there is a judgment. Then Zophar the Nahamite replied, my troubled thoughts prompt me to answer. Because I am greatly disturbed, I hear the rebuke that dishonors me. My understanding inspires me to reply. Surely you know how has been from Surely you know how it has been from of old, ever since man has been placed on the earth, that the mirth of the wicked is brief, and that the joy of God lasts but a moment. And though his pride reaches to heaven and his head touches the cloud, he will perish forever like his own dung. Those who have seen him will say, where is he? Like a dream, he flies away, no more to be found, vanished like the vision in the night. The eye that saw him will not see him again. His place will look on him no more. His children must make amends to the poor. His own hands must give back his wealth. The youthful vigor that fills his bones will lie with him in the dust. Though evil is sweet in his mouth, he hides it under his tongue. Though he cannot bear to let it go, he keeps it in his mouth. Yet his food will turn sour in his stomach. It will become a venom of serpents, a venom. He will spit out the riches he swallowed. God will make his stomach vomit them up. He will suck up the poison of the serpent. The fangs of the otter will kill him. He will not enjoy the streams and the rivers flowing with the honey and cream. What he toiled for, he must give back uneaten. He will not enjoy the profit from his trading. He has oppressed the poor and left them destitute. He has seized the houses he did not build. Surely he will have no respite from his craving. He cannot save himself from his treasure. Surely he will have no respite from his craving. He cannot save himself by his treasure. Nothing is left for him to devour. His prosperity will not endure. In the midst of his plenty, distress will overtake him. The full force of misery will come upon him. When he has filled his belly, God will vent out his burning anger against him and rain down his blows upon him. Though he flees from an iron weapon, a bronze-tipped arrow pierces him. He pulls it out of his back. The gleaming point out of his liver. Terrors will come over him. Total darkness lies in wait for his treasures. A fire unfanned will consume him and devour what is left in his tent. The heavens will expose his guilt. The earth will rise up against him. A flood will carry off his house. Rushing waters on the day of God's wrath. Such is the fate God's allots the wicked, the heritage appointed to them by God. Then Job replied, listen carefully to my words and let this be a consolation you give me. Bear with me while I speak, and after I have spoken, my going is my complaint directed to men. Why should I not be impatient? Look at me and be astonished. Clap your hands over your mouth. When I think about this, I am terrified. Trembling seizes my body. Why do the wicked live on, growing old and increasing in power? They see their children established around them, the offering before their eyes. Their homes are safe and free of fear. The rod of God is not upon them. Their bulls never fail to breed. Their cows calve and do not miscarry. They send forth their children as a flock. Their little ones dance about. They sing to the music and tambourine of the harp. They make merry the sounds of the flute. They spend their years in prosperity and go down to the grave in peace. Yet they say to God, leave us alone. We have no desire to know your ways. Who is the Almighty that we should serve him? What will be gained by praying to him? But their prosperity is not in their own hands, so I stand aloof from the counsel of the wicked. Yet how often is the lamp of the wicked snuffed out? How often does calamity come upon them? The fate of God allots his anger. How often are they like straw before the wind, like chaff swept away by a gale? It is said that God stores up a man's punishment for his sons. Let him repay the man himself so that he will know it. Let his own eyes see his destruction. Let him drink the wrath of the Almighty. For what does he care about the family he leaves behind when his allotted months come to an end? Can anyone teach knowledge to God, since he judges even the highest? One man dies in full vigor, completely secure and at peace, his body well nourished, his bones rich with marrow. Another man dies in bitterness of the soul, never having enjoyed anything good. Side by side they lie in the dust, and the worms cover them both. I know full well what you are thinking, and the schemes by which you wrong me. You say, where now is the great man's house, the tents where wicked men live? Have you never questioned those who have traveled? Have you paid no regard to their accounts, that the evil man is spared from the day of calamity, and that he is delivered from the day of wrath? Who denounces his conduct to his face? Who repays him for what he has done? He is carried away to the grave, and watch is kept over his tomb. The soil of the valley is sweet to him, and all men follow after him, and countless throng goes before him. How can you console me with your nonsense? Nothing is left of your answer but falsehood. Then Eliphaz the Tenite replied, Can a man be of benefit to God? Can even wise men benefit him? What pleasure would it give the Almighty if you were righteous? What would he gain if your ways were blameless? Is it for your piety that he rebukes you and brings charges against you? Is not your wickedness great? Are not your sins endless? You demand security for your brothers for no reason. You strip men of their clothing, leaving them naked. You gave them no water to the weary. What's up, coward? It's interesting to say that out loud. But what's up, coward? Nice to meet you, man. Or girl. you have You have stripped men from their clothing, leaving them naked. You gave no water to the weary. You withheld food from the hungry. Though you were a powerful man owning land and an honored man living in it, and you sent widows away empty-handed, broke the strength of the fathers, and that's why snares are all around you, why sudden peril terrifies you. Why is it so dark you cannot see, and why a flood of water covers you? Is not God in the heights? Is not God in the heights of heaven? And see how lofty are the highest stars? Yet you say, what does God know? Does he judge through such darkness? Thick clouds veil him, so he does not see us. As he goes about in the vaulted heavens, will you keep to the old path that evil men have trod? They carried off before their time, their foundations washed away by the flood. They said to God, leave us alone. What can the Almighty do to us? Yet it is he who filled their houses with good things, so I stand aloof with the counsel of the wicked. The righteous see their ruin and rejoice. The innocent mock them, saying, surely our foes are destroyed, and the fire devours their world. Submit to God and be at peace with him. In this way, prosperity will come to you. Accept the instructions from his mouth and lay up his words in your heart. If you return to the Almighty, you will be restored. If you remove wickedness from far from your tent and assign your nuggets to the dust, your gold of Ophir to the rocks of the ravines, then the Almighty will be your gold, the choicest silver for you. Surely then you will find delight in the Almighty and will lift up your face to God. You will pray to him and he will hear you out. You will fulfill your vows. What you decide on will be done, and the light will shine on your ways. When men are brought low, and you will say, lift them up, then he will save the downcast. He will deliver even one who is not innocent, who will be delivered through the cleanness of your hands. Where are you from, Howard? Like, where do you stay? How old are you? And it's super nice to meet you. I'm gonna keep reading because there's a lot to be done, but just know that I see you, okay? Like, I see you. I'm gonna continue on. Then Joab replied, even today my complaint is bitter. His hand is heavy in spite of my groaning. If only I knew where to find him. If only I could go to his dwelling. I would state my case before him and fill my mouth with his arguments. I would find out what he would answer to me and consider what he would say. Would he oppose me with great power? No, he would not press charges against me. There an upright man could present his case before him, and I would be delivered from my judge. But if I go to the east, he is not there. If I go to the west, I did not find him. When he is at work in the north, I do not see him. When he turns to the south, I catch no glimpse of him. But he knows the way that I take. When he has tested me, I will come forth as gold. My feet have closely followed his steps. I have kept his way without turning aside. I have not departed from the commands of his lips. I treasured the words of his mouth more than the daily bread. But he stands alone, and who can oppose him? He does whatever he pleases. He carries out his decree against me. And many such plans he still has in store. That is why I am terrified before him. When I think all of this, I fear him. God has made my heart faint. The Almighty has terrified me. Yet I am not silenced by the darkness. the thick darkness that covers my face? Why does the Almighty not set times for judgment? Why must those who know him look in such vain for such days? My men move boundary stones, they plaster flocks they have stolen, they drive away the orphan's donkey and take the widow's ox in pledge. They trust the needy from the path and force all the poor of the land into hiding like wild donkeys in the desert. The poor go about their labor of foraging food. The wasteland provides food for their children. They gather fodder in the fields and glean vineyards of the wicked. Lacking clothes, they spend the night naked. They have nothing to cover themselves in the cold. They are drenched by mountains, rain, and hug the rocks for lack of shelter. The fatherless child is snatched from the breath. An infant of the poor is seized for death. Lacking clothes, they go about naked. They carry the sheaves but still go hungry. They crush olives among their terraces. They tread the winepresses, yet suffer thirst. The groans of the dying rise from the city. The souls of the wounded cry out for help. But God charges no one with wrongdoing. There are those who rebel against the light, who do not know its ways or stay in its path. When daylight is gone, the murderer rises up and kills the poor and the needy. In the night, he steals forth like a thief. The eyes of the adulterer watches thus. He thinks no eye will see me, and he keeps his face concealed. In the dark, men break into houses, but by day they shut themselves in. They want nothing to do with the light. For all of them, deep darkness is their mourning. They make friends with the terrors of the darkness. Yet they foam at the surface of the water. Their portion of land is cursed, so that no one goes to the vineyards. As heat and drought snatch away the melted snow, so the grave snatches away those who have sinned. The womb forgets them. A worm feasts on them. Evil men are no longer remembered, but are broken like a tree. They prey on the barren and childless woman, and to the widow show no kindness. But God drags away the mighty by his hand, though he has become established. They have no assurance of life. He may let them rest in the feeling of security, but his eyes are on their ways. For a little while they are exalted, and then they are gone. They are brought low and gathered up like all the others. They are cut off like heads of grain. And if this is not so, who can prove me false and reduce my words to nothing? Then but Bildad the Suhab replied, Dominion and all belong to God. He established order in the heights of the heaven. Can his forces be numbered? Upon whom does his light not rise? How then can a man be righteous before God? How can one born of woman be pure? If even the moon is not bright and the stars are not pure in the eyes, how much less is man who is but a maggot, a son of man who is only a worm? What's up, Jordan? I see you, brother. Then Job replied, How you have helped the powerless, how you have saved the arm that is feeble, what advice you have offered to the one without wisdom, and what great insight you have displayed, who has helped you utter these words, whose spirit has spoke from your mouth. The dead are in the deep anguish there, and those beneath the waters, and all those who live in them. Death is naked before God. Destruction lies uncovered. He spread out the northern skies over empty space. He suspends the earth over nothing. He wraps up the waters in his clouds, yet the clouds do not burst under their weight. He covers the face of the full moon, spreading his clouds over. He marks out the horizon of the face of the waters, the boundary light between darkness. The pillars of the heavens quake against his rebuke. By his power he churned up the sea. By his wisdom he cut Rahab to pieces. By his breath the skies become fair, and his hand pierces the guiding serpent. And these are but the outer fringe of his works. How faint the whisper we hear of him. Who then can understand the thunder of his power? And Job continued his discourse. As surely as God lives, who has denied me justice, the Almighty, who has made me taste bitterness of the soul, as long as I live, have life inside me, the breath of God in my nostrils, my lips will not speak wickedness, and my tongue will not utter deceit. I will never admit you are in the right. Till I die, I will not deny my integrity. I will maintain my righteousness and never let go of it. My conscience will not reproach me as long as I live. May my enemies be like the wicked and my adversaries like the unjust. For what hope has the ungodless when he is cut off? When God takes away his life, does God listen to his cry when distress comes upon him? Will he find delight in the Almighty? Will he call upon God at all times? I will teach you about the power of God and the ways of the Almighty. I will not conceal. You all have seen yourselves. Why then this meaningless talk? Here's the fate God allots to the wicked. The heritage of the ruthless man receives from the Almighty. However many his children, their fate is the sword. His offspring will never have enough to eat. The plague will bury those who survive him, and their widows will not weep for them. Though he heaps up silver like dust and clothes like piles of clay, what he lays up, the righteous will wear, and the innocent will divide the silver. The house he builds is like a moss cocoon, like a hut made by watchmen. He lies down the wealthy, but will do so no more. When he opens his eyes, all is gone. Terror overtake him like a flood. A tempest snatches him away in the night, and the east wind carries him off, and he is gone. It sweeps him out of his place. I really appreciate that, bro. Really, I do. All right, I love from Brazil. I love India. I can't wait to come back, man. I hope to see you when you're all grown up. When I see you again, you're gonna be bigger than me, okay? You're gonna be bigger than me. It's gonna be great. It hurls itself against him without mercy, and as he flees headlong from his power, it claps its hands in derision and hisses out of his place. There's there is a mine of silver and a place where gold is refined, for iron is taken from the earth and copper is melted from ore. Man puts an end to darkness. He searches the farthest recesses, for ore is the blackest darkness. Far from where people dwell, he cuts a shaft in places forgotten by footed men. Far from men, he dangles and sways the earth from which food comes. It is transformed below as fire. Sapphire comes from its rocks, and its dust contains nuggets of gold. No prey knows that hidden path. No falcons have seen it. Proud beasts do not set foot on it, and no lion prowls near man's hand. Assault the flinty rock and lays bare the roots of the mountains. He tunnels through the rock. His eye sees all the tunnels, treasures. He searches the sources of the rivers and brings hidden things to light. But where can wisdom be found? Where does understanding dwell? Man does not comprehend its worth. It cannot be found in the land of the living. The deep says, it is not in me. The sea says, it's not with me. It cannot be brought with finest gold. Nor can its price be weighed in silver. It cannot be bought with the gold of Ophir, the precious onyx or sapphires. Neither gold nor crystal can compare with it, nor can it be had for jewels of gold. Coral and jasper are not worthy to be mentioned. The price of wisdom is beyond ruby. The topaz cannot compare with it. It cannot be bought with pure gold. Where then does wisdom come from? Where does understanding dwell? It is hidden from the eyes of every living thing, concealed even from the birds of the air. Destruction and death say, only a rumor of it has reached our ears. God understands the way to it, and he alone knows where it dwells. For he views the ends of the earth and sees everything under heavens. When he established the force of the wind and measured out the water, he made a decree for the rain and a path for the thunderstorm. Then he looked at wisdom and appraised it. He confirmed it and tested it. And he said to man, the fear of the Lord, that is wisdom, and to shun evil. And to shun evil is understanding. Job continued his discourse. How long for the months gone by, for the days when God watched over me, when his lamp shone upon my head, and by his light I walked through darkness. Oh, for the days when I was in my prime, when God's intimate friendship blessed my house, when the Almighty was still with me and my children were around me, and when my path was drenched with cream and the rock poured out from me streams of olive oil. When I went to the gate of the city and took my seat in the public square, the young men saw me and stepped aside, and the old men rose to their feet. The chief man refrained from speaking and covered their mouths with the hand, and the voices of the nobles were heard, and their tongues struck the roof of their mouths. Whoever heard me spoke well of me, and those who saw me commended me. Because I rescued the poor who cried for help, the fathers that had gone to assist them, the man who was dying blessed me. I made the widow's heart sing. I put on righteousness as my clothing, and justice was my robe and my turban. My eyes I was the eyes of the blind and the feet of the lame. I was the father to the needy. I took up the case of the stranger. I broke the fangs of the wicked. I snatched the victim from their teeth. I thought I will die in my own house. My days are as numerous as grains of sand. My roots will reach the water, and dew will lie all night on my branches. My glory will remain fresh in me. The bow ever new in my hand. Men listen to me expectantly, waiting in the silence from my counsel. After I had spoken, they spoke no more. My words fell gently on their ears. They waited for me as for showers, and drank in my words as springs from the rain. When I smiled at them, they scarcely believed it. The light of my face was precious to them. I chose the way of men. I chose the way for them, sat as their chief. Take care, brother. I'll see you around, okay? I dwelt as a king among his troops. I was like one who comforted mourners. But now they mock me, men younger than I, whose fathers I have disdained and put with my sheepdogs. Of what use? Of what use was the strength of their hands to me, since their vigor had gone from them? From haggard from want and hunger, they roamed the parched land and desolate wastelands at night. In brush they gathered sharp herbs, and their food was the root of the broom tree. They were banished from their fellow men. At they shouted at it as if they were thieves. They were forced to live in dry string grass among the rocks, and in holes in the ground they brayed among the bushes and huddled me in the underworn at a base and nameless brood. They were driven out of the land, and now their sons mock me with song. I have become a byword among them. They detest me and they keep their distance. They do not hesitate to spit in my face. Now God has strung my bow and afflicted me. They throw off restraint in my presence. On my right, the tribe of tracks, they lay snares at my feet. They build up their seed dress against me. They break up my road. They succeed in destroying me without anyone's helping them. They advance as though a gaping breach amid the ruins. They come rolling in. Terrors overwhelm me. My dignity is driven away. As by the wind, my safety vanishes like a cloud. And now my life ebbs away. Days of suffering grip me. Night pierces my bones. My gnawing pains never rest. In his great power, God has become like clothing to me. He binds me like a neck. He binds me like the neck of my garment. He throws me into the mud, and I am reduced to the dust of ashes. I cry out to you, O God, but you do not answer. I stand up, but you merely look at me. You turn on me ruthlessly. With the might of your hands, you attack me. You snatch me up and drive me before the wind. You toss me about in the storm. You know you will bring me down to death, to the place appointed to all things living. Surely no one lays a hand on a broken man when he cries out for help in his distress. I have not wept for those. Have I not wept for those in trouble? Has not my soul grieved for the poor? Yet when I hoped for good, evil came. The churning inside me never stops. Days of suffering confront me. I go about blackened, but not by the sun. I stand up in the assembly and cry out for help, and I have become the brother of jackals and companion of owls. My skin grows black and peels, and my body burns with fever. My harp is tuned with mourning, and my flute with the sound of wailing. I made a covenant with my eyes not to look lustfully at a girl. For what is man's lot from God above his heritage? For what is man lot from God above his heritage from the Almighty on the high? Is it not room? Is it not room for the wicked, disaster for those who do wrong? Does he not see my ways and count my every step? If I walk in falsehood, or if my foot has hurried after deceit, let God weigh me on honest scales, and he will know that I am blameless. If my steps have turned from my path, if my heart has been led by my eyes, or if my hands have been defiled, then may others eat what I have sown, and my crops be uprooted. If my heart has been enticed by a woman, or if I have lurked at my neighbor's door, then may my wife grind another man's grain, and may other men sleep with her. For that would have been shameful, a sin to be judged. It is fire that burned, a destruction. It would have been uprooted, my harvest. If I have denied justice to my men servants and maid servants, when they have had grievance against me, what will I do when God confronts me? What will I answer when called to account? Did he not? Did he? Did not he who made me in the womb make them? Did not the same one form us both within our mothers? If I denied the desires of the poor, or let the eyes of the widow grow weary, if I have kept my bread to myself, not sharing it with the fatherless, but from my youth I reared him as would a father, and from my birth I guided the widow. If I have seen anyone perishing for the lack of clothing, or a needy man without garment, and his heart did not bless me for warming him with the fleece of my sheep, if I have raised my hand against the fatherless, knowing that I had influence in the court, then let my arm fall from the shoulder, and let it be broken off at the joint. For I dreaded destruction from God, and the fear of his splendor. I could not do such things. I have put my trust in gold, or said to pure gold, you are my security. If I have rejoiced over if I have rejoiced over my great wealth, the fortune of my fortune, my hands have gained. If I have regarded the sun and its radiance, and the moon moving in its splendor, so that my heart was secretly enticed, and my hand offered them a kiss of homage, then these would have been sins to be judged, for I would have been unfaithful to the God on high. If I have rejoiced at my enemy's misfortune, or gloated it over the trouble that came to him, if I have not allowed my mouth to sin by invoking the curse upon against his life, men of my household have never said, who has not had his fill of Job's meat? No stranger had to spend the night in the street, for my door was always open to the traveler. I have concealed my sin as men do, by hiding my guilt in my heart, because I so feared the crowd and so dreaded the contempt of the clans that I kept silent and would not go outside. Oh, that I had someone to hear me! I sign now my defense. Let the Almighty answer me. Let my accuser put his indictment in writing. In writing, surely I would wear it on my shoulder. I would put it on like a crown. I would give him an account of my every step, like a prince. I would approach him. If my lands, if my land cries out against me, and all its furrows are wet with tears, if I have devoured its yield without payment, or broken the spirit of its tenants, then let briars come up instead of wheat, and weeds instead of barley. The words of Job are ended. So these three men stopped answering Job because he was righteous in his own eyes. But Elihu, son of Barchel, the Bezuk, the family of Ram, became very angry with Job for justifying himself rather than God. He was also angry at the three friends because they had found no way to refute Job and yet had condemned him. Now Elihu had waited before speaking to Job because they were older than he. But when he saw that the three men had nothing more to say, his anger aroused. So Elihu, the son of Barachel, the Buzite, said, I am young in years and you are old, and that is why I was fearful, not daring to tell you what I know. I thought age should speak, advancing years should teach the wisdom, but it is the spirit in man, the breath of the Almighty, that gives him understanding. It is not only the old who are wise, not only the aged who understand what is right. Therefore, I say, listen to me. I too will tell you what I know. I waited while you spoke. I listened to your reasoning, and while you were searching for words, I gave you full attention. But not one of you has proved Job wrong. None of you have answered his arguments. Do not say, we have found wisdom, and let God refute him, not man. But Job hath not marshaled his words against me, and I will not answer him with your arguments. They are dismayed and have no more to say. Words have failed them. Must I wait now that they are silent, now that they stand there with no reply? I too will say, I too will have my say. I too will tell you what I know, for I am full of words. The spirit within me compels me. Inside, I am like a bottle of wine, like new wine ready to burst. I must speak and find relief. I must open my lips and reply. I will show partiality to no one. nor will I flatter any man, for if I were skilled in flattery, my maker would soon take me away. But now, Job, listen to my words, pay attention to everything I say. I am about to open my mouth, my words on the tip of my tongue. My words come from the upright heart. My lips sincerely speak what I know. The Spirit of God has made me. The breath of the Almighty gives me life. Answer me then if you can. Prepare yourself to confront me. I am just like you before God. I too have been taken from play. No fear of me should alarm you, nor should my hand be heavy upon you. But you have said, in my hearing, I heard the very words. I am pure and without sin. I am clean. I am clean and free of guilt. Yet God has found guilt, found fault with me. He considers me an enemy. He fastens my feet in shackles. He keeps close watch on my past. But I tell you, in this you are not right, for God is greater than man. Why do you complain to him that he does not, that he answers none of man's words? For God does speak, now one way, now another, though man may not perceive it. In a dream, in a vision of night, when deep sleep falls on men, and as they slumber in bed, he may speak in their ears and terrify them with warnings to turn men from wrongdoing and keep him from pride, to preserve his soul from the pit, his life from the perishing sword. Our man may be chastened on the bed of pain with constant distress of his bones, so that his very being finds food repulsive. His soul rolls the choices of flesh. His flesh wastes away to nothing, and his bones, once setting, now stick out. His soul draws near to the pit, and his life to the messengers of death. Yet if there is an angel on his side as a mediator, one of 1,000, to tell man what is right, to be gracious to him and say, spare him from going down to the pit, I have found ransom for him. Then his flesh will be renewed like a child's, it is restored as the days of his youth. He prays to God and finds favor with him. He sees God's face and shouts for joy. He is restored by God in his righteous state. Then he comes to men and says, I have sinned, I have perverted what is right, but I did not get what I deserved. He redeemed my soul from going down to the pit, and I will live in the light. I will live to enjoy the light. God does all these things to a man twice, even 3 times, to turn back his soul from the pit, that the light of life may shine on him. Pay attention, Job, and listen to me. Be silent, and I will speak. If you have anything to say, answer me. Speak up, for I want you to be cleared. But if not, then listen to me. Be silent, and I will teach you wisdom. Then Elihu said, hear my words, you wise men, listen to me, you men of learning, for the ear tests words as tongue tests food. Let us discern for ourselves what is right and good. Let us learn together what is good. Job says, I am innocent, but God denies me justice. Although I am right, I am considered a liar. Although I'm guiltless, his arrow inflicts an incurable wound. What man is like Job, who drinks scorn like water? He keeps the company. He keeps company with evildoer. He associates with wicked. Where he says, It profits a man nothing when he tries to please God. So listen to me, you men of understanding. Far be it from God to do evil, from the Almighty to do wrong. He repays a man for what he has done. He brings upon him what his conduct deserves. It is unthinkable that God would do wrong. That Almighty would pervert justice. Who appointed him over the earth? Who put him in charge of the whole world? If it were his intention and he withdrew his spirit and breath, all mankind would perish together and man will return to dust. If you have understanding, hear this and listen to what I say. Can he who hates justice govern? Will you condemn the just and mighty men? Is not Is he not the one who says to kings, you are worthless, and to nobles, you are wicked, who shows no partiality to princes and does not favor rich over poor? For they are all the work of his hands. They die in an instant, in the middle of the night. They are the people shaken, and they pass away, and the mighty have been removed from human hand. His eyes are on the way of men. He sees their every step. There is no dark place, no deep shadow where evildoers can hide. God has no need to examine men that they should come before him for judgment. So, without inquiry, he shatters the mighty and sets up others in their place because he takes notes of their deeds. He overthrows them in the night, and they are crushed. He punishes them for for their wickedness, where everyone can see, because they turned from following him and had no regard for any of his ways. They caused the cry of the poor to come from him, so that he heard the cry of the needy. But if he remains silent, who can condemn him? If he hides his face, who can see him? Yet he is over man and nation alike to keep godless men from laying snares to the people. Suppose a man says to God, I am guilty, but will offend no more. Teach me what I cannot see. If I have done wrong, I will not do so again. Should God then reward you on your terms when you refuse to repent? You must decide, not I. So tell me what you know. Men of understanding, declare wise men who hear me, say to me, Job speaks without knowledge. His words lack insight. Oh, that Job might be tested to the utmost for answering like a wicked man. To his sin, he adds rebellion scornfully. He claps his hands among us and multiplies his words against us. Then Elihu said, do you think this is just? You say, I will be clear about God, yet you ask him, what profit is it to me? And what do I gain by not sinning? It is like I would like to reply to you and to your friends with you, look up to the heavens and see, gaze at the clouds so how high above you. If you sin, how does that affect him? If your sins are many, what does that do to him? If you are righteous, what do you give to him? Or what does he receive from your hand? Your wickedness affects only a man like yourself. And your righteousness only the sons of men. Men cry out under the load of oppression. They plead for relief from the arm of the powerful, but no one says, where is God, my maker, who gives songs at night, who teaches more to us than the beasts of the earth, and makes us wiser than the birds of the air? He does not answer when men cry out because of the arrogance of the wicked. Indeed, God does not listen to their empty plea. The Almighty pays no attention to it. How much less then will how much less then will he listen when you say that you do not see him, that your case is performed and you must wait for him? How much less then will he listen when you say that you do not see him, that your case is performed and you must wait for him? And farther, that his anger never punishes, and further, that his anger never punishes, and he does not take the least notice of the wickedness. So Job opens his mouth with empty talk. Without knowledge, he multiplies words. Elihu continued, bear with me a little longer, and I will show you that there is more to be said of God's behalf. I get all my knowledge from afar. I'll be ascribed justice by my Maker, but be assured that my words are not false. One perfect in knowledge is with you. Mm. God is mighty, but does not despise men. He is mighty and firm his purpose. And firm in his purpose, he does not keep the wicked alive, but gives the afflicted their right. He does not take his eyes off the righteous. He enthrones them with the kings and exalts them forever. But if men are bound and chains, held fast by cords of affliction, he tells them what they have done, that they have sinned arrogantly. He makes them listen to correction and commands them to repent of their evil. If they obey and serve him, they will spend the rest of their days in prosperity and their years of contentment. But if they do not listen, they will perish by the sword and die without knowledge. The godless heart harbor resentment, even when he flutters. They do not cry for help. They die in their youth among male prostitutes of the shrines. But those who suffer, he delivers in their suffering. He speaks to them in their affliction. He is wooing you from the jaws of distress to a spacious place free of restriction to comfort you, comfort of your table laden with choice food. But now you are laden with the judgment due to the wicked judgment and justice have taken hold of you. Be careful that no one entices you by riches. Do not let a large bribe turn you aside with your wealth or even all of your mighty efforts. sustain you so you would not be in distress. Do not long for the night to drag people away from their homes. Beware of turning to evil, which you seem to prefer to affliction. Beware of turning to evil, which you seem to prefer to affliction. God is exalted in his power. Who is a teacher like him? Who has prescribed his ways for him, or said to him, you have done wrong? Remember to extol his work, which men have praised and sung. All mankind has seen it. Men gaze on it from afar. And how great is God beyond our understanding. The number of his years is past finding out. He draws up the drops of water, which distill as rain to the streams. The clouds pour down their moisture, and abundant showers fall on mankind. Who can understand how he spreads out the clouds? How he thunders from his pavilion. See how he scatters his lightning about him, bathing from the depths of the sea. That is the way he governs the nations and provides food in abundance. He fills his hands with lightning and commands it to strike its mark. His thunder announces the coming storm. Even the cattle make known its approach. At this, my heart pounds and leaps from its place. Listen to the roar of his voice, to the grumbling that comes from his mouth, the unleashing of his lightning beneath the whole heaven and sends it to the earth, into the earth. After that comes the sound of his roar. He thunders with his majestic voice. When his voice resounds, he holds nothing back. God's voice thunders in marvelous ways. He does great things beyond our understanding. He says to the snow, fall on the earth, and the rain shower. He might be like a mighty downpour, so that all the men he has made may know his works. He stops every man from his labor. The animals take cover, they remain in their dens. The tempest comes out from his chambers, the cold from driving winds. The breath of God produces ice, and the broad waters become frozen. He loads the clouds with moisture. He scatters his lightning through them. At his direction, they swirl around over the face of the whole earth to do whatever he commands them. He brings the clouds to punish men, or to water his earth and to show his love. Listen to this, Job. Stop and consider God's wonders. Do you know how God controls the clouds and makes his lightning flash? Do you know how the clouds hang poised? Those wonders of him who is perfect in knowledge. You who swelter in your clothes, and when the land lies hushed over the south wind, can you join him in spreading out the skies, hard as mirror of cast bronze? Tell us what we should say to him. We cannot draw up our cases because of our darkness. Should he be told that I want to speak? Should he be told that I want to speak? What any man asks to be swallowed up. Now, no one can look at the sun bright as it is in the skies after the wind has swept them clean. Out of the north he comes in a golden splendor. God comes in an awesome majesty. The Almighty is beyond our reach and exalted in power. In his justice and great righteousness, he does not oppress them. Therefore, the men revere him. For does he not regard all? Does he not have regard for all the wise in heart? Then the Lord answered Job out of the storm. He said, who is this that darkens my counsel with words without knowledge? Brace yourself like a man, and I will. Let me run that back. All right, we're in a good part. You came back for a good part, Jordan. God's about to answer Job. Let me do this right. Chapter 38. Then the Lord answered Job out of the storm. He said, who is this that darkens my counsel with words without knowledge? Brace yourself like a man, and I will question you, and you shall answer me. Where were you when I laid the earth's foundations? Tell me if you understand. Who marked off its dimensions? Surely you know. Who stretched a measuring line across it? On what were its footings set? Or who laid its cornerstone? While morning stars sang together and all the angels shouted for joy. Who shut up the sea behind the doors when it burst forth from the womb? When I made the clouds its garment and wrapped it in thick darkness, when I fixed limits for it and set its doors and its bars in place, when I said, this far you may have come, but no farther, here is where your proud waves halt. Have you ever given orders to the morning, or shown the dawn its place, that it might take the earth by its edges and shake the wicked out of it? The earth takes shape like clay under a seal. Its features stand out like those of a garment. The wicked are denied their light, and their upraised arm is broken. Have you journeyed to the springs of the sea, or walked in the recesses of the deep? Have the gates of death been shown to you? Have you ever seen the gates of the shadow of death? Have you have you comprehended the vast expanses of the earth? Tell me if you know all this. What is the way, the abode of the light, and where does the darkness reside? Can you take me to their places? Do you know the paths of their dwellings? Surely you know, for you were already born. You have lived so many years. Have you entered the storehouses of the snow? Have you seen the storehouses of hail, which I reserved for the times of trouble and for days of war and battle? What is the way to the place where the lightning is dispersed, and or the place where the east winds have scattered over the earth? Who cuts the channel for the torrents of the rain, and the path of the thunderstorm, to water a land where no man lives, and desert where no one in it, to satisfy a desolate wasteland and make it sprout with glass? Does the grain have a father? Who fathers the drops of dew? From whose womb comes the ice? Who gives birth to the frost of the heavens? When the waters become hard as stone, and when the surface of the deep is frozen, can you bind the beautiful Pleiades? Can you loose the cords of Orion? Can you bring forth the constellation in their seasons, or lead out the bear with its cubs? Do you know the laws of heaven? Can you set up God's dominion over earth? Can you raise your voice to the clouds? Can you cover yourself with the flood water? Do you send the lightning bolts on their way? Do they report to you, here we are? Who endowed the heart with wisdom and gave understanding to the mind? Who was the wisdom to count the clouds? Who has the wisdom to count the clouds? Who can tip over the water jars of the heavens when the dust becomes hard and the clouds of the earth stick together? Do you hunt the prey of the lioness? Do you hunt the prey for the lions and satisfy the hunger of lions when they crouch in their dens and lie in wait in the thickets? Who provides food for the raven when the young cry out to God and wonder about for the lack of food? Do you know when the mountain goats give birth? Do you watch when the doe bears her fawn? Do you count the months till they bear? Do you know the time they give birth? They crouch down and bring forth their young. Their labor pains are ended. Their young thrive and grow strong in the wilds. They leave and do not return. Who let the wild donkey go free? Who untied his ropes? I give him the wasteland at his home, the salt flats his habitat. He laughs at the commotion in the town. He does not hear the driver shout. He ranges the hills for his pasture and searches for anything green. Will the wild ox consent to serve you? Will he stay by your manger at night? Can you hold him in the furrow with the harness? Will he till the valleys behind you? Will you rely on him for his great strength? Will you leave your heavy work to him? Can you trust him to bring in your grain and gather it on your threshing floor? The wings of an ostrich flap joyfully, but they cannot compare with the pinions and the feathers of a stork. She lays her eggs on the ground and lets them warm in the sand, unmindful that a foot may crush them and that some wild animal may trample them. She treats her young harshly as if they were not hers. She cares not that her labor was in vain, for God did not endow her with wisdom or give her her share of good sense. Yet when she spreads her feathers to run, she laughs as a horse and a rider. Do you ever give the horse his strength, or clothe his neck with the flowing mane? Do you make him leap with great locusts, striking terror with his crown and snorting his paws fiercely, rejoicing in their strength, and charging to the fray? He laughs at fear, afraid of nothing. He does not shy away from the sword. The quiver rattles against his side, along with the flashing spear and lance. In a frenzied assignment, he eats up the ground, and he cannot stand still when the trumpet sounds. At the blast of the trumpet, he snorts, aha! He catches the scent of battle from afar, then the shout of commanders and the battle cry. Does the hawk take flight by your wisdom and spread his wings towards the south? Does the eagle soar at your command and build his nest on high? He dwells on a cliff and stays there at night. A rocky crag is his stronghold. From there he seeks out his food. His eyes detect it from afar. His young one feasts on blood, and where the slain are, there he is. The Lord said to Job, will the one who contends with the Almighty correct him? Let him who accuses God answer him. Let him who accuses God answer him. Then Job answered the Lord, I am unworthy. How can I reply to you? I put my hand over my mouth. I spoke once, but I have no answer. Twice, but I will say no more. Then the Lord spoke to Job out of the storm. Brace yourself like a man, and I will question you, and you will answer me. Mm, 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 mm. Would you discredit my justice? Would you condemn me to justify yourself? Do you have an arm like God's, and can you voice thunder like his? Then adorn yourself with glory and splendor, and clothe yourself in honor and majesty. Unleash the fury of your wrath, and look at every proud man and bring him low. Look at every proud man and humble him. Crush the wicked where they stand. Bury them in all the dust together. Shroud their faces in the grave. Then I myself will admit to that your own right hand can save you. Look at the behemoth which I made along with you, which feeds on the grass like an ox. What strength he has in his loins, what power in the muscles of his belly. His tail sways like a cedar, his sinews like and his eyes are close knit, his bones are tubes of bronze, his limbs like rods of iron. He ranks first among the works of God, yet his maker can approach him with his sword. Hills bring him the hills bring him their produce, and all the wild animals play nearby. Under the lotus plants he lies, hidden among the reeds of the marsh. The lotuses conceal him in their shadow, and poplars by the streams surround him. When the river rages, he is not alarmed. He is secure. Though the Jordan shroud surge against his mouth, can anyone capture him by the eyes, or trap him and pierce his nose? Can you pull in the Leviathan with the fish hook and tie down his tongue with the rope? Can you put a cord through his nose and pierce his jaw with a hook? Will he keep begging you for mercy? Hmm. Will he speak to you with gentle words? Will he make an agreement with you for you to take him as your slave for life? Can you make a pet of him like a bird, or put him on a leash for your girls? Will traders barter for him? Will they divide him up among the merchants? Can you fill his hide with harpoons, or his head with fishing spears? If you lay a hand on him, you will remember the struggle and never do it again. Any hope of subduing him is false. The mere sight of him is overpowering. No one No one is fierce enough to rouse him. Who then is able to stand against him? Who has a claim against me that I must pay? Everything under heaven belongs to me. I will not fail to speak on his limbs, his strength, and his graceful form. Who can strip off his outer coat? Who would approach him with a bribe? Who dares open the doors of his mouth, ring with his fearsome teeth? His back his back has rows of shields tightly sealed together, each so close to the neck that there is no air that can pass between. They are in a joint fast to one another. They cling together and cannot be parted. His snorting throws out flashes of light. His eyes are rays of dawn. Firebrand streams from his mouth. Sparks of fire shoot out. Smoke pours from his mouth as a boiling pot over a fire of grease. His breath sets coals ablaze. His flames dart from his mouth. Strength resides in his neck. Dismay goes before him. The foes of his flesh are tightly joined. They are firm and immovable. His chest is a hard rock, hard as the lower millstone. When he rises up, the mighty are terrified. They retreat before his thrashing. The sword that reaches him has no effect, nor does the spear or dart the javelin. Iron he treats like straw, and bronze like rotten wood. Arrows do not make him flee. Slingstones are like chaff to him. A club seems to him but a piece of straw. He laughs at the routing of lance. His undersides are jagged potsheds, leaving a trail of mud like the threshing shack. He makes depths churn like boiled cauldron and stirs up the seas in a pot of ointment. Behind him he leaves a glistening weight. One would think the deep One would think the deep had white hair. Nothing on earth is equal. A creature without fear. He looks down on all of that are hardy, and he is king over all that are proud. Then Job replied to the Lord, I know that you can do all things. No plan of yours can be thwarted. You ask, who is it that obscures my counsel without knowledge? Surely I spoke of things I did not understand, things too wonderful for me to know. He said, listen now, and I shall speak. I will question you, and I shall I will question you, and you shall answer me. My ears have heard of you, but now my eyes have seen you. Therefore I despise myself and repent in dust and ashes. After the Lord had said these things to Job, he said to Eliphaz the Temanite, I'm angry with you and your two friends, because you have not spoken of me what is right, as my servant Job has. So now take 7 bulls, 7 rams, and go to my servant Job and sacrifice a burnt offering for yourselves. My servant Job will pray for you, and I will accept his prayer and not deal with you accordingly to your folly. You have not spoken of me what is right, as my servant Job has. So Eliphaz the Temanite, Bildad the Shuhite, and Zophar the Naamite did what the Lord told them, and the Lord accepted Job's prayer. After Job had prayed for his friends, the Lord made him prosperous again and gave him twice as much as he had before. All his brothers and sisters and everyone who had known him before came and ate with him in his house. They comforted him and consoled him over all the trouble the Lord had brought upon him, and each one gave him a piece of silver and a gold ring. The Lord blessed the later part of Job's life more than the first. He had 14,000 sheep, 6,000 camels, 1,000 yoke and oxen, 1,000 donkeys, and he also had 7 sons. And also, he had 7 sons and 3 daughters. The first daughter he named Jemiah, the second Keziah, and the third Karen Hapok. Nowhere in all the land were there found women as beautiful as Job's daughters, and their father granted them an inheritance along with their brothers. After this, Job lived 140 years. He saw his children and their children to the fourth generation, and so he died old and full of years. And we're done, baby. What an amazing book. Whew. What a powerful, amazing book. We are now to page 400 in the Bible. We are moving along. We are less than halfway done. But by the end of today, you see where this ruler is? That's going to be how much we would have read by the time this is done. So we are going to take a very small break. I'm going to go get some food. We're going to eat. And then we're going to come back and read probably the largest book of the Bible in terms of pages and be done. So Jordan, thanks for hanging with me, brother. I love you, man, and thank you so much for being here. Thank you for your support. I feel it, bro. I'm speaking specific to you. I feel you here. Thank you so much for your support and care. Can't wait to see you again. And yeah, I'll see everyone else on the